So this is the valve clearance adjustment on the MT-07. I took the radiator off, as you can see. I used the Haynes manual to do through all the steps. I removed the spark plugs. I don't know if you can see those, but the coils and the spark plugs have been removed. What else? Here, well, I took the gas tank off. All the panels, just to make work a bit easier. This model has the ABS pump. It's a pain in the ass because it's directly above the spark plugs, but I just unplugged some connectors so I get easier access. So now the next step is to take the valve cover off. How to take the valve cover off, which is right there. I unplugged the breather hose, which used to be there, so that is loose. I took off some canister that was right around here, and now it's just a matter of using an Allen to get all these bolts loose to get the cover off. Took the 4 bolts out of the valve cover. It's 4 Allens. The cover is quite tight because of all the heat cycles, so what I'll do next is I'll use a piece of wood and a hammer just to give it some gentle taps to pop it loose. Positions. So let's take the cover off. Clutch cable again. Right. So something you might want to do is, before I took this all off, I made sure that all the seals between the actual valve cover and the engine block were clean, so you don't get any debris inside the engine. Okay, I have to remove this big boy and this bolt so we can actually put the crank in the right position, so everything will be in top dead center. Always with these things, I need a 14mm hex, and I don't have one, but I do have this piece of bar stock that fits it pretty good, so I'm gonna run this down in a lathe to make some custom tool, because it's evening and the shops are closed. Tool bits, it fits right in there, and that should do the trick, I hope. Yeah, there we go. Put that aside. The O-ring out. Ugh. I hope I can reuse this, because the store didn't have the right one in stock, unfortunately. Take the inspection bolt out. It's tight as well. Alright. Myself, I made a little chart. Try to get it in frame. So this is the front of the bike. This is the left hand side cylinder, the right hand side. 2 intake valves, 2 exhaust valves. This is the spec the manual calls for. So what I'm going to do now is just position the camshaft at the right way, and then take a measurement with the feeler gauges to see where I'm at right now. To use a, what is it, 19mm wrench. on the crank, and you will keep rotating the crank counterclockwise, so like that, until in here you will see just a stripe, and it should match up with the stripe on the casing. Focus you. Thank you. You start with the left hand side cylinder, and what you're looking for is that, why is this so hard to shoot? Jesus. So what you're looking for is that the cam lobes will face away from each other. So as you can see, the intake is facing backwards. If it would just focus, is facing backwards, while the front lobe is facing forward. At this moment the left hand side cylinder is in top dead center, and we can use feeler gauges to measure the play. Alright, I've got a different camera now. I've set up some lighting so you can actually see what we're doing. I can't see what I'm filming now because there's no display, but let's hope for the best. I got these feeler gauges. These are the style at 45 degrees. I don't actually like these, but I had to get some, and this was all the store had. So I'm starting with the exhaust side. And as you can see, it should be between 0.24 and 0.3 of a millimeter. So I got these two actually. They're a bit of a weird size. I think these are imperial actually. So this one is 0.25 and should fit between the cam and the valve. And this one is 0.305, so it should not fit. So we'll do this one first. Let's get a good grip. So I can feel some resistance while I move this back and forth, and it's going in, so that's good. I'll put the camera down and get the different one. Alright, so this is the 0.305, and it should not go in. And it doesn't. So that means that this side, this exhaust valve on the left hand side cylinder is alright. And I can move on to there's another exhaust valve there. And then we'll switch to the intake side, which is over there. So now I'm gonna check the intake side. I've switched to a different set of feeler gauges because the spec is calling for 0.11 and 0.2, so the other ones were too thick, so I'm gonna match the 06 and the 05 to get 011 and start with that. We've got two feeler gauges now. I've cleaned them, and now together they should be 0.11 millimeters. So there's the intake sides. I'm just gonna run these. Well, they go in very easy. I cannot even feel, I can just feel the drag of the oil. So I'm gonna increase the thickness and check it again. So now I'm gonna use the 0.10 and 0.07, so together that's 0.17. I'm just gonna measure the intake side again, and okay, it's not going in. So I'm gonna decrease it a bit to, let's say, 0.14 and see what happens. I've done some more measurements, and now I'm going with the 0.15, and I think this is what it is, because the 17 didn't go in and the 15 feels like it has the right amount of drag. So I'm happy with that. That means the valve play is in between the called for 0.11 and 0.20, so I'm gonna measure the other ones. Alright, here's the setup for the right hand side cylinder. Because the manual only states that you use this mark here on the crankshaft for the alignment of the left hand side cylinder, which is now on top dead center because the cams are facing away from each other. So I was thinking there should be a mark on this flywheel for the right hand side cylinder, but it turns out there's not, and not even the manual states how to get it there. It just states rotate it counterclockwise 270 degrees. But since it's kind of, I don't know, seems like it's a delicate job, I made this angle gauge because I don't have one. So I'm now at 0 degrees and I'm gonna turn it 3/4 of a turn till I hit 270 degrees. Let's see if I can get you in frame. I hope so. Alright, that should be it. So I'm just holding the key because otherwise it will fall off, but now I'm at 270 counterclockwise. So the cam lobes of the, let me get this gauge off, of the right hand side cylinder should now be facing outwards. So they are on the exhaust sides, and I'm just checking. Yeah, there are 2 on the intake side. So I'm just gonna repeat the procedure, but now the right hand side cylinder is in top dead center. So I did some more measurements on the valve play, and this is the summary basically. Everything looks alright. It's all within spec except for this one. So this exhaust valve is not within spec. It should be at least 0.24 and it's not. So I'm gonna have to take the camshaft out in order to replace the shims. But first I have to wait for the dealer to open up and order the parts.